Hello, dear friends. We have returned for Blue Review 101 after reaching the amazing landmark of 100 episodes. I'm going to continue with the Extreme and Forgotten series. I've got a bunch of these sketched out. I could be doing this forever, but I'm still going to be doing reviews of actual Blu-rays and new Blu-ray reviews and items donated to the channel by channel patrons, as well as films I catch on streaming. So the Extreme and Forgotten series, to recap, are movies that are not available right now on Region A, Region Free Blu-rays. So since this is a Blu-ray orientated show, but really a film review show in general, these are films that have been on VHS and or DVD and have not reached Blu-ray in a Region A capacity. Some of them have not been on Blu-ray anywhere in the world. A lot of them are out of print on DVD. So some of these are ones I've had on VHS and DVD, like bootlegs and the official DVDs, and so I've upgraded a bunch of times, and I'd like to have a definitive Blu-ray in my library, but they're just not available yet. So that's true of all the previous ones I reviewed, including last episode, New Rose Hotel. Some of these have come out in Blu-rays in other countries and other regions that I have a hard time playing. I have 3 region-free Blu-ray players. 2 of them were refurbished, jury-rigged, so they're not perfect doing the region-free. Like, they can play any DVD from anywhere in the world. Blu-rays are harder. Sometimes they have to be programmed a certain way, and one of these, the main one I watch, I have not been able to figure out how to lick it. I've been on Google and YouTube for instructions, and I can't crack it. I can't watch a Blu-ray that's not Region 3 or Region A, ABC, whatever, on it. So I'm not collecting those, unfortunately. I know there are plenty of people who can, and cool, but just sticking with where I'm at and where a lot of my friends are at as well, I'm going to go with the idea that these are movies that need an official Region A, Region 1, Region 3 release. And don't have it. And are very great movies, in my opinion. Extreme and forgotten in different ways, different taboo subjects. Some may be more extreme than others, and someone's definition of extreme may be different than his or her neighbor's. I want to remind people that not only did I write for Video Eyeball and iMagazine, which I showed you guys during my Sweet Movie special a few episodes back, but I did a few issues of Shock Cinema in the readers review section. It's called Film Flotsam. This magazine is published by Stephen Pekalski. It's still being published. It's one of the longest running film zines / magazines, zines that became a magazine that's still being published in hard copy. And of course, he has a website as well. Some of my work is on the website. I'm happy about that. In this first issue I reviewed, issue 10, this was way back in 97, I believe. I reviewed Otto Mule's short films, which I discussed a little bit during my Sweet Movie special. Black Heat, Blaxploitation by Ella Adamson. Baba Yaga, a great movie I really would like to upgrade to Blu-ray and review at some point. Blue Underground does it. The Love Merchant, Something Weird video from Joe Sarno. I wrote Soap Styles Exploitation from that purveyor of thinking man's trash, Joe Sarno. I had fun doing these reviews. Some of my writing is a little corny, and I admit a lot of it is influenced by the very kind of early attitude-heavy zine style, which Steve employed, though Steve kind of grew out of it too. And hopefully I did as well. And I also reviewed The Velvet Vampire, which I reviewed on this channel for Halloween. And that one does have a Blu-ray release, but it has gone out of print temporarily, and it's rather pricey, so I can't upgrade yet. I reviewed some stuff in issue number 11. We noticed it has Thriller Cruel Picture on the cover, reviewed by Steve, which I reviewed on this channel in 2 videos recently. Both of which are doing well, and both of which reinforce my admonishment. That's not the right word. It's like I'm scolding you. My plea to smash that like button, please, because that will rise my videos in the algorithm. More people will view them, and then the more people that view them, the more people it will be recommended to view, and it will snowball. And some of the videos, like the thriller ones I've done, are having that effect. But a lot of them are kind of stagnant and stillborn because they need the likes, which are going to bring them up into your recommends so that you can view them and et cetera, et cetera. It's just a weird way it works. I get buried without this stuff, so please help me out here. I don't know what I reviewed for number 11. He pushed the film Flotsam closer to the back. I did review, yes, The Sex Perils of Paulette, another something weird. Hikaida, the great Japanese tokusatsu early 70s superhero series. Gargoyles, which of course did come out on DVD. I'm not sure if Gargoyles is on Blu-ray or not. I think it is. But I reviewed it for my memories from seeing it on TV as a child. I reviewed Mean Mother, another black exploitation by Al Adamson. Now these are all on VHS, mind you. This is pre-DVD here. Era. And I also reviewed The Razor Sword of Justice, the first in that series. All three of those are on Tubi to watch, and I think I've only watched the first two. The third, The Snare, I believe, is directed by Yasuzo Masamura, who's one of my favorites. In Shock Cinema number 12, with the late great William Smith in the cover, I reviewed quite a bit. Werewolf versus Vampire Woman, which I also reviewed on this channel recently for Halloween. No One Heard the Scream by Eloy de la Iglesia, a Spanish giallo, which has recently come on Blu-ray. Several of de la Iglesia's films have come on Blu-ray, which brings me to the other one I reviewed for this issue, The Glass Ceiling, 1971 by Eloy de la Iglesia. And like I said, I don't remember if I reviewed it before or not, but whatever. Spanish giallos are pretty cool. There are a lot of them I like Encadenada, which I reviewed for the next issue of Shock Cinema, and I may review on this channel. Morbo is a cool one. There's really a lot of them. La Residencia, though that's a little more of a traditional horror, but a lot of classic. Spanish giallos are really interesting. I'd say the best ones, in my opinion, are by Jorge Grau. Violent Bloodbath or Pena de Muerte, Penalty of Death. Another one I might review. That's a great one by Grau. A great giallo by Grau. And then De La Iglesia did a few. He did No One Heard the Scream. Clockwork Terror, which is kind of a giallo, kind of a science fiction dystopian giallo, which is getting ready to come out on Blu-ray, by the way. Hope to score a copy to review, but you know how things go. My friend Kimberly Lindbergs did a wonderful set of liner notes for it, so I'm looking forward to that. The Glass Ceiling, though, has not yet been announced. Maybe, with who is putting out these De La Iglesias, I guess Severin, I think. They have not announced Glass Ceiling, but that's okay. The original title is like Teco de Cristal. And I'm going to read my very amusing review real quick before I dive into the movie itself and what I think about it now. And I have it playing in the background, of course. Spaniard Eloy de la Iglesia, father of Alex, is a criminally overlooked director. Cannibal Man and Clockwork Terror are his least obscure films, and they're not exactly launching any retrospectives. The rest of his early 70s work seem at first glance like more conventional thrillers, but bear just as many of his radical stylistic hallmarks as the above-mentioned pair. Glass Ceiling features Carmen Sevilla as Martha, a lonely, trusting housewife whose husband is always away on business, leaving her to snoop on her neighbors, talk endlessly to her cat Phaedra, and hang out with landlord Richard, played by Dean Selmier, a likably stoic sculptor who, when not waxing philosophic on voyeurism in cinema or smashing his work to bits, fools around with his luscious young model, Rosa, Emma Cohen from Cannibal Man. Suspecting neighbor Julie, Patty Shepard, from Werewolf vs. Vampire Woman, of doing away with her own husband, Martha's increasing paranoia begins to bear grisly fruit and soon encircles her completely and closes in. And soon encircles her completely and closes in Polanski style. It is kind of like that paranoia. I don't know if I'd write it like that now. Sevilla is fantastic in a role that could have come off as really cloying in lesser hands, making the hopeless climax all the more grim. So, Glass Ceiling, what can I say? It's like a lot of Spanish giallos and in Iglesias films especially. Long stretches with no music, uh, very stark kind of lighting and editing, very kind of naturalistic, almost kind of neo-realist settings. I mean, these are not like rich people he's showing here. I mean, Cannibal Man, of course, is a multi-layered movie, commenting on a lot of different things about society. Underneath it's like a serial killer, um, trope, but uh, excuse me, no one heard Scream is more of a thriller, but it still plays with types of people and class issues in a way. And that one, Carmen Sevilla plays this really kind of stuck up, woman who thinks she's all that, and she sees a murder, gets kidnapped by the murderer played by Vincent Parra, who starred in Cannibal Man, and it's a back and forth between them, and but there's a lot of quiet moments and interesting dialogue and kind of subversive ideas kind of sprinkled in there. This one is the same way. It's way more low key though. Very little music. You really follow this character Martha through kind of a mundane life, and that's just it. She's kind of lonely and unhappy, and that's where the seeds of paranoia come. It's that in order to occupy her time, she kind of begins snooping, a la Jimmy Stewart in Rear Window and various other thrillers. That's done in a ton of thrillers. In this case, she's just lives in this kind of provincial area, and his cat raises pigs. His neighbor, he's got like the sculptor neighbor I mentioned, and he's got the hot model, and then she's got the kind of inscrutable neighbor, Patty Shepard, who's kind of like the bad girl, who, like I said, may or may not have killed her husband, may or may not be disposing of her husband. Again, this is a Rear Window kind of thing. Um, but and a lot of little intrigue and people kind of gossiping in the neighborhood. Uh, it's very naturalistic. It's very earthy, gritty characters, and I love it. Um, love the look of it, love the vibe of it, and it kind of keeps building to where Carmen Sevilla, her character Martha, is just reaching out of loneliness, and so she becomes friends with the sculptor. Did I say what his name was? I forgot already. I'm watching the movie and I can't remember his name if they gave it or not. So I won't constantly call him Dean Selmier. Hey, that guy. Yeah. I think they call his character, Richard. Oh, he's the landlord. Yeah, so he's the landlord of these different little houses they rent. Uh, but yeah, I mean, there's like kind of some flirtation between him and Martha, but she's really just bored, and she wants a friend, and she's interested in his studio because he does art. I mean, she's really just a kind-hearted person who's kind of lost and depressed because her husband's always gone. And I think she wants her husband to kind of, I guess, rescue her from what she finally feels is this almost plot, uh, to kill her, um, by the Patty Shepard character, uh, and even starts to mistrust her husband and his motives and all this, and his rare appearances when he deigns to return to town. Um, I'm gonna skip through this a little bit because there's a couple of sequences that I want to kind of take a look at as I'm talking. I don't think this will be a very long review. I just want to. I don't think I can skip chapters on this particular burnt item here, so we'll just skip forward here like this, the cheap, fast forward way, the cynical way of watching a movie. I gotta say, Phaedra, the all white cat, is very beautiful. It's a very major character. She's constantly talking to the cat, and I think that's pretty realistic too. I live alone, and I constantly talk to my cat. I mean, you know, Emma Cohen, like I said, she's like the model for the sculptor, and she like lives in this place too, and like it's a farm, and she's milking cows all the time, and I don't know. These people, it's like it seems like they might all be harboring secrets. Uh, Something just doesn't seem right. The only character you can really feel uh, that you trust is Martha, and you want to trust Richard. He seems like he's going to be like the good guy. He's a little swaggery. He's a little sarcastic, a little womanizing, but he's also, creative and seems like a straight shooter kind of guy. But appearances are deceiving, and especially in giallos and thrillers of this nature. Um, so anyway, Carmen kind of continues to confide in this cat, and I don't know if that's really that smart, but I'm gonna do it on the hyper fast forward because I want to go back into the. I can't break the chapters. This was a dupe from Rareless.com, and it was a massive upgrade to the VHS and then the later bootleg DVD I had. It looks great. It's not like 4K or anything, but it looks great, and but it doesn't have chapter stops. It's like all if you get the info, it's all like one chapter. You know, so that's the way it goes. But yeah, Richard says cinema is true 24 times a second. An escape valve for your voyeuristic instinct. Snooping, for example, is this instinct. Voyeurism. So Richard's like this philosopher about the arts and photography, cinema, and of course the voyeuristic gaze, which makes you again think he's kind of like a hero, somebody or not a hero, but somebody who she can bond with, trust. When she starts to have these kind of weird fears and stuff, and I don't know. He is the landlord, so as can be expected, he's pretty nosy in his own way, and he's kind of overseeing everybody. So if anybody has the secrets, he's going to be privy to him. But at one point he picks up Phaedra, and Phaedra doesn't like him. She claws the guy, and that might be another sign too. Um, but a lot of people are going to see Martha as a busybody, somebody who just can't mind her own business and the worry wart. She's fragile. She's, emotionally unstable, insecure, lonely, blah, blah, blah. And that kind of adds to the idea. Is she imagining this thing or what? Because she does start snooping around Patty Shepard's place, and she kind of starts imagining these scenarios where Patty's off her husband. The husband isn't just away, he's been killed, and she's like disposing of his body in some potentially gruesome ways. She's afraid maybe she's going to poison her with orange juice, and it just gets crazier and crazier. And finally, to the point where I'm kind of at now, I've kind of jumped around. towards the last little segment here. Um, it gets rather suspenseful. Um, and uh, Martha goes into Richard's studio and she sees all these photographs, not only of like the Emma Cohen character, but her spying on her at all, even intimate moments, like in a bathrobe or underwear, and of course pictures of Patty Shepard doing her weird stuff. And so he's kind of been, uh, I don't know, keeping his eye on everybody. And so what does this mean? So when she's finally confronted with this her seeming nemesis uh, by this chick, I can't think of her name, but played by Patty Shepard. And she's like, "We're leaving. I'm going to meet my husband. This is my new address." And Martha doesn't feel good about this. Like she really kind of feels like this is a lie, and she's really crept out by the way Richard has outdone her as a voyeur, I have to say, and a snoop. Um, and I think it's just like constant paranoia. She's running around, checking her house, checking the rooms, opening the windows, uh, looking around. And I think at this point, I think she can't find her cat, maybe, because I'm not seeing the cat. And I could see there was a sequence where she's like, Phaedra, Phaedra. And Phaedra's, like her spirit animal, her familiar. Um, but Sevilla's acting is flawless. She I don't know. You really feel for this character. I think it's a lot more of an empathetic thing than you get in a lot of giallos. I think Spanish giallos, in my mind, tend to be more psychological, especially stuff by Eloy de la Iglesia and Jorge Grau. These kind of cats, their stuff is very, it's not gothic, La Residencia or stuff of that nature. It's much more psychological and, uh, oh my God. Uh, and then Yeah, Martha finds some body parts, and the pigs start eating them. And cameras spying on her, and it's so that's kind of you know something's fucked up, right? So what's she gonna do? Essentially, what can she do? Um, you know, someone calls her. Someone tells her to leave the house immediately, but she doesn't know who it is, and they say, "Don't stay alone." Now I'm wondering, is that Richard warning her? At first, I thought this was Richard warning her off of Patty, like she's gonna come get her. Like she didn't just leave; she's gonna just come and kill her since she's seen what she thinks is the truth, um, and really feels like she can't trust anybody. Um, and so she goes out and she encounters her husband, and he's on his way home, and she tells the husband, "Hey, she killed her husband, and she's in league with Ricardo, and now they're gonna kill me, and I need your help." And they're like out in the street, and Carlos is kind of like, and somebody's watching them, of course, taking pictures, which you assume is Ricardo slash Richard. Um, so she goes into the house with Carlos and is trying to convince him that all this is real. He has kind of a stoic deadpan um, reaction, and it makes you think, oh, it's kind of like in Rosemary's Baby, like even husbands in on this, guys in on this. So you kind of figure that out early on in Rosemary's Baby. Um, but then they're just chilling out and smoking cigarettes, and it seems like everything's okay. But um, then it gets kind of weird. I'm gonna check this last part because I haven't watched it in a while, and oh, they're in her. Oh, I think they're in Julia's house. and the husband's going to confront her. Julia must be Patty Shepard. Yeah. And, so Carlos says he's going to go upstairs and confront her. So she won't escape. And you wonder, like, I don't know, is Julia having an affair with Carlos? What's the deal? What is the deal exactly? There's still someone snooping around taking pictures, though, outside of it the whole time, skulking about. Um, and so it gets really tense, and Marta starts ascending the stairs. Again, like no music, very stark. And you see this kind of the gloved hand, which has been doing the photographing, and now I think has a gun. And she still can't find Carlos. It's kind of a spiral staircase, sort of, one of these kind of curving. It is like a spiral staircase. Yeah, very very big staple of all giallos of all countries. And lighting's creepy. Oh my god, it's a nice experiencing this with you guys, even though you've probably never seen it, and you're like, what the hell? Why can't you just get to the point? Well, I'm just sharing my delight like with you. I'm like Daisuke Beppu. I don't know if you watched his live stream movie reviews. This is why I wish this was the live stream and you guys could comment and say like get to the point. No, or say, hey, what? So Carlos has been killed. Well, Charles in the English dub. So he went up to find Julia, and now he's deceased. So he wasn't in on it. He was trying to help his wife, and some bad shit. And there she is, Julia. Mm. And Julia is framed in this really evil way. Patty Shepard had these really evil eyes, and she's got this straight razor. She's brandishing, and she's not not fucking around. And I'm kind of looking at this, and I'm like, wow, there's 2 minutes left. Oh my god. Well, of course I was wrong, and so is the audience. I guess because I haven't seen it in a while. Carlos jumps up and he's alive, and he grabs his wife, and the chick with the razor, comes forward, and he's like, "Go on, kill her." He says he killed her husband, so they were having an affair. Julia and Marta's wife, Carlos, were having the affair all along. So he was probably out of town doing more than business. He was probably disposing of some of those body parts that they, the ones that weren't left in that studio. And so they're all attacking her. Um, and it's fascinating at this stage is they're like about to kill her with a razor, and then Carlos is shot in the head, and he's dead. And it's Richard. He's the guy with the gloves who's been taking the pictures, skulking around, and he's got the gun. The Carlos is gone. So what now? Julie is kind of passive. Um, so here again, you reinforce the idea that Richard's the hero, Ricardo, the sculptor. She runs to him and hugs him, and can you tell him my eyes is kind of sad. He looks up at Julia, who smiles, and then Richard is holding poor Marta. He puts his gun to her head. Then you see a montage of all the photos of all the women in black and white, and that's it. Then that's the end. A grim ending, a very grim ending for a very sympathetic heroine. So that's the glass ceiling, man. Thanks for reliving it with me. I did the cynical, fast frame forward thing to give you the highlights that I couldn't remember. My review was perfunctory, I guess, but so now I'm giving away all the spoilers. But I hope you will watch this when you get a chance. I hope it comes out on Blu-ray. Right now, as far as I know, the only way to get it is like a bootleg situation, like rareloss.com, where he will burn you onto DVD. Well, he'll give you the files. You burn them yourself onto your own DVDs. And I believe this source might be from it's from a foreign DVD that's as a remaster, but it's not from a Blu-ray. It's really good though. So I'm hoping No One Heard the Scream and Cannibal Man, and then that other set of De La Iglesia all through Severin will really sell, so they can hurry up and put out Glass Ceiling, because it's really my favorite of all of them. Really. But I am looking forward to Clockwork Terror. Uh, Heavily looking forward to that, and I'm hoping either I can afford to pick it up, which is doubtful, or a channel patron. If someone wants to purchase it for me, it's on Diabolic DVD. I think it's $27.99. But anyway, I'll put that in my wish list. So that's my discourse. I'm a little tired now. Um, Thanks for listening, and I'll be back soon with another video. More details on my projected socio-political show. I recorded episode 1, didn't like it, re-recorded it, did like it, and I'm kind of sitting on it. It came. I recorded it at the time when the Joe Rogan Neil Young thing was reaching a fever pitch, right before further developments into this Trudeau thing with Canada. I think I mentioned that stuff too. Now, of course, all that, all those crises and controversies are have segued into this potential, World War III scenario we're in now. And that's another place where commenting on it and being a truth teller and giving honest opinions is a minefield right now. So I'm holding off on shooting episode 2, which will probably, touch on that at some point. I'll try to release episode 1 as soon as I feel 100% comfortable with it. I think I am. And I'll probably do some kind of update on myself. I'm still trying to decide on a title for the new show. I'm thinking about just the arbitrary interlude, because that's what seems to be appealing to people, but I don't know how that's going to sound as an ongoing political show. But anyway, Blue Review will be back with episode 102 and more goodies. So thanks. Mash the like button, subscribe. If you can donate to my fundraisers, please do. Thank you to the people who have. Let me real quick thank the people who have helped me with the fundraisers and or with this channel in recent days. I might be missing somebody. I hope not. Nicola Nazarino, Via Wolf. They have shared my fundraisers. Arlen Gulston, who was a co-worker of mine at my day job until recently, lives in Charlotte. Groovy Guy, who said he'd like to guest on my socio-political show sometime. That would be cool. And yes, my good friend Chris Bubox, I can't say his last name, donated some money to my fundraiser. Wendy McInnes, the wonderful Drusilla McGuire, who I think is just, an incredible thinker and artist and total hottie. And there you go. Sorry, Drew, I had to throw that in there. And Katrinka Ann, another incredible artist and thinker and hottie. And I'm single, remember. I can say this stuff. It's not harassment. I just love women. And so, who else? A couple of other people shared my thing, and I want to give them, due credit. I want to give all the proper shout outs. Of course, I'm going to thank Tim Tolbert because he, of course, was responsible for the material I've had here for the channel. When I haven't been able to afford it, he's been a steadfast channel patron, a permanent channel patron, and I have acquired, another channel patron. Um, I'm not gonna their name. They don't want their name to be revealed yet, and I'll honor that. Um, Zalia Mueller, another good friend of mine, who is a wonderful trans woman, female, yes, a trans female director of horror movies, and they're low budget, and they're shot on, I think, like Super 8 and 16, and what I've seen of them are incredible. She's churning them out, and they're incredible. She's brilliant. She's been a brilliant, wonderful friend to me. Rosemary Binsko, a great writer, has also shared my pleas for help. And she's a great musician. Check her on SoundCloud under the name Sound Animal. And finally, among the donators, my fourth cousin, Richard Hornsby, did help me out some. I appreciate that. I have not talked to him in a while. He lives in Greensboro. He's really the only blood relative I have any kind of contact with, even erratically. And finally, today I received a large donation from Don Miller, a guy who's really, I haven't talked to in ages. He's gone through a lot of his own spiritual journeys and artistic journeys, but he and I were close friends when we were in college together at CPCC Community College, and we started a band together, two bands together. The second band was called Epiphany, but Don decided to retire from music, and I carried on Epiphany, which kind of evolved into a pretty good outfit, but Nebula. I mean, it was solid, but we were mainly jamming. We were doing cool stuff. I was totally in control of the band, though I was the least talented musician, but I had the vision, so to speak. I wrote lyrics, but we broke apart Epiphany, and half of us uh, became part of the new chiaroscuro. So chiaroscuro broke in half, and we broke in half, and we fused together into the new chiaroscuro, and that's a story for another day. We had an interesting, albeit brief career, but I believe created some really good music that probably no one is ever going to hear, other than the people who have already heard it. Again, a story for another day. But anyway, so Don Miller, out of the blue, gifted me with this, and I deeply appreciate it. I have very fond memories of our times playing the music together, hanging out, and just fucking tripping out in the CPC student lounge. Just all kinds. Those were fun times. My early 20s. Um, I don't know, man. Yeah, back then the art of tripping out, it was an art form. And of course, younger people or people of another generation or culture may not know what I mean by tripping out. Maybe it's a Southern thing. Maybe it's a hippie thing, a metalhead thing. I don't know. I don't know where. I mean, it's a black dude thing. I don't know. I mean, but I first heard it from black dudes. They told me, "Hey, man, you're a trip in school," and I said, "Trip? You mean like a journey, a voyage?" I'm like, "No, man, a trip. Like you're out there." Of course, they didn't know out there meant. I'd heard hippies say it, but I didn't know they'd appropriated it from jazz musicians who were black. I have a book with a whole lexicon of black jazz lingo, jargon, argot, and terminology, and what it means. It's beautiful. I'll read it to you sometime. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. Now I've thanked everybody. I love you all. I really appreciate all your help, and I'll be back soon. Rock on.